Well, thank you very much, Dr. Jensen, for that presentation. We're now going to hear from some personal stories from 3 different people about why they think this is an important issue. And the first is from Logan Edwards. Logan is an Iraq War veteran. He grew up in Bettendorf, Iowa. Logan graduated from Pleasant Valley High School, and he is currently attending Scott Community College. He plans to transfer to the University of Iowa, where he will major in philosophy and plans to eventually attend law school at the university. He served 6 years in the U.S. Marine Corps and was deployed to Iraq in 2007 and 2008. He was honorably discharged in 2011. Please welcome Logan.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. See how close I got it. All right. Can we still hear me? Yeah. Okay. First of all, I'd just like to say that it's really good to see everybody out here, and whether you're for it or against this, it's just good to see people involved in the political process. For me, joining the Marine Corps at the basis of that decision is for, you know, this ability right here to be able to assemble like this and be able to talk like this without the fear of bombs going off outside and things like that. And it's comforting, I guess, to see, you know, that that's still alive and well here in America. So now I'm going to move on into my, I guess, kind of my plea or my statement to Iowans as where I'm coming from on a medical marijuana program here in the state. I first ask that we all open our minds. Much like a parachute, our minds work best when they are open. Now, it's important to note that I'm advocating for a regulated medical marijuana program as someone who's benefited from its use. After exhausting all options of traditional medicine over the past 6 years from the VA to treat my symptoms of anxiety and PTSD, I began to contemplate suicide, which sadly is a growing trend among returning veterans. I've already lost one dear friend from the deployment I was on. The only thing that kept me from doing it was the thought of my newborn daughter growing up without me. So with a renewed sense of motivation to try and get my symptoms manageable, I decided to give the VA one more chance and check myself into a 3-month-long inpatient program that specialized in mental health for veterans. After 3 months of extensive drug and therapy treatments, my symptoms had not improved. And after meeting many Vietnam veterans still suffering from the same symptoms I had, it became clear to me I wasn't going to get the help I needed from the VA, so I began to look elsewhere. I had heard about medical marijuana, but always thought, as so many do today, that it was a joke. It was an excuse for stoners to get high legally. I had heard of other veterans getting great relief from marijuana, and I felt as though I had nothing left to lose. So I tried it. As soon as I tried it, it eased my mind from the unrelenting anxiety. It did things for me that no other prescription drug could. It helped me get my life back. I went from surviving through the day with my symptoms to enjoying life again and reconnecting with friends and family. It helped with insomnia and never once gave me the terrible side effects I experienced on every one of the pharmaceuticals I was prescribed. I was completely shocked that something so effective at treating my symptoms was not suggested to me sooner. I was even more shocked to learn that I lived in a state that so strongly prohibited its use, even for medical purposes. I find it ironic that I fought for my country and now am forced to be a criminal in that country because the state I live in doesn't accept marijuana as medicine or allow safe regulated access. Above all else, I find it absolutely ironic that some of the people whom are against it in the state do so not based on medical evidence, but based on their outdated stereotypical beliefs. I'm not advocating for a program like Colorado or California, which is oftentimes thrown around as a hypothetical model for Iowa's program. I'm advocating for one of the best run medical marijuana programs in the country that Iowa's own Board of Pharmacy recommended as a model after unanimously agreeing on marijuana's medical benefits. It makes much more sense to allow sick patients access under doctor's supervision and use the money generated from it to fund drug education and treatment programs for the youth. I'm most certainly not for Iowa youth having access to marijuana, which is why I so strongly advocate for a regulated system, because drug dealers do not ask for IDs. I ask that Iowans take into consideration the words that I have just said and to realize that I do not work for any company or organization that stands to gain or lose profit based on my testimony here today. I am a suffering veteran that only seeks to have legal access to medicine that has helped change my life for the better. I do not want to leave the state I grew up in and my daughter because a few people whom have power refuse to acknowledge marijuana's medical benefits and instead see me as a criminal for using an herb that has never killed anyone and actually treats my symptoms. Since I have begun publicly advocating for a medical marijuana program in Iowa, I have had to quit using it for fear of being arrested as a result of my for fear of being arrested. As a result, my symptoms have returned. My nightmares are so bad that I'm afraid to go to sleep. Oftentimes, the lack of sleep and constant nightmares fuel my unrelenting anxiety and daily panic attacks. I am but a shell of what I was a month ago. I feel numb, anxious, and depressed. My only option, the VA tells me, is more antidepressants, sleeping pills, and sedatives, which I've already tried over the past 6 years and found no relief, but instead horrible side effects. I'm tired of struggling to find hope, tired of believing things will get better, and most of all, I'm tired of being considered a criminal in the country I fought to protect. If this bill does not get the support it deserves by politicians, not doctors, who choose to ignore the medical benefits and suffering patients of Iowa, then I will have no choice but to relocate to a state that does accept it. This is a matter of life and death for me, just as it is many of the other patients, because I welcome death if I have no other option to relieve my suffering. I would much rather go on a vacation to Disney World with my daughter on her 4th birthday than to have to spend the money leaving the state I grew up in and the place I call home to seek medical treatment I should already have access to. Please make the right choice and demand from your state legislators that they support a medical marijuana program for the sick and suffering patients of Iowa.